Hello and welcome to Fearless DIY Music. My name is Tristan Lass, and today I want to talk about keyboards in your creative space. Now, keyboards are not my primary instrument, but I find that I do like to have piano and synthesizer and organ sounds at my disposal when I am tracking. So this is kind of just like, for people who want to have some keyboard sounds at their disposal, don't want to spend a whole lot of money, but get some satisfying sounds using, just the bare necessities. So in essence, keyboards are not my most proficient instrument. I am most proficient on guitar, bass, and drums, and then keyboards are a distant fourth. But I do find that I want them sometimes on my recordings. So I do have a certain amount of equipment, and I'm just going to go over what I use, how I set it up, and discuss, some of the cost and stuff like that. So for those who want to get some things and realize that you don't have to spend a whole lot of money to have a decent keyboard setup. So I think we'll start at the start. Having a decent piano sound is a very important to me. I want to have something that sounds relatively good. I do have an acoustic piano at my disposal, but it is not in this space. So recording it is kind of a pain to relocate all the things and then mic it up just to do a small part on a song that's probably not going to be prominent in the mix. So most of the time I default just going to my Casio keyboard here. This is a CTK 720. It's just a very basic, inexpensive, this is like a $150 keyboard. What I do, though, to kind of warm it up and make it a little bit more organic sounding, is that right now I'm using, let's see, where is it? Right here is a TRS cable. What I'm doing is I'm going out of the headphone out of the keyboard into two amplifiers, one of which is my Hiwatt Crunch 50 that has reverb. I'm going through the clean channel on that, and then the other amp that I'm using is just a Fender Pro Junior tube amp. So I run basically stereo out into two amplifiers, and we can just take a brief listen to what the keyboard sounds like. So, like I said, I'm not a great keyboard player. I just basically, compose little parts and then put them into my mixes. But that's a reasonably good sound, especially when it's mic'd up. And then, the reverb kind of shines through. And then if that's not enough to kind of, I can always EQ it in the mix. And I can add other effects to the piano to kind of give it a little bit more of a real piano sound. So that's one example. The other thing that I use pretty much for keyboards, the only other piece of keyboard equipment that I have, is just this little controller. This is an Akai, and this is the MPK Mini. These are about $100, and the main synthesizer bank that I use is the Yoshimi software. It comes with Ubuntu Studio, which is the software that I use, but you can also download Yoshimi for pretty much any platform for free, and it has a tremendous amount of sounds built into it. So right now I have it just set up with a little bit of organ. And then there's, I can just go right over here and let's see here. Let's pick another sound, organ number 10. Let's just see what that one sounds like. And you get the idea. You can just scroll through all the different banks that are available and find cool sounds. And it has tons and tons of neat synthesizer patches, all sorts of sounds. And of course, just having a simple keyboard controller, you can pick any software that you want, any variety of sounds, and just having that at your disposal is usually enough to cover most bases for just basic tracking. So this is a fairly short video. Like I said, I am not a keyboard player by trade. I do think that it's wise to have keyboard sounds at my disposal, and I quite simply use a $100 controller, a $150 basic keyboard for piano sounds. There are also other sounds in this that are pretty cool, and then run it through amps. I could also do the same with the keyboard controller, the MIDI controller. I could also port that out, run it through some amps, try to warm it up, make it sound bigger, and mic it in the room. So that's basically it. A really brief tutorial on what I use to achieve keyboard sounds in the studio. I hope that helps anybody out there who's just looking to get a basic setup, but it really is, I would not advise going any further than that unless you are going to become like, an expert keyboard player, or you need sounds that are very specific. But you can, it's almost unlimited the amount of free stuff out there, especially with the keyboard controller. In fact, having the full-size keyboard isn't necessary either, because there are good piano emulators out there as well that can be had, and you can just use your controller. All right. Well, thank you so much for watching. If you've made it this far into the video, I would really appreciate a subscribe and a like, shares, and comments. Is there anything out there that other people are using that maybe are more utilitarian than what I've showed today? And perhaps, there are some other free synthesizers out there besides Yoshimi that people would like to recommend, and I would love to hear about it. All right. You take care. Thank you so much for watching, and hit that subscribe button. We'll see you next time.